Welcome back to the only video in this series I'm having to re-record because there was a mic in my cleavage in the original. Yay! Anywho, we are here to talk about exchange listings and the role that it plays in determining value for cryptocurrency and blockchain projects. What a lot of people don't readily realize, but makes sense when you hear it, is the fact that if a crypto project, if a blockchain project is listed in more markets, on more exchanges, then there's just that much more opportunity for capital to find it, for investors to find it, and therefore drive up the price and drive up value because there's more demand for it, because there's more access to it. You know, think about it from an investor point of view. If you hear about this super cool new coin or this super cool new project and you want to invest in it, but it's not offered on the exchange that you already know and use and trust, how likely are you going to be to open up a whole new exchange and just in order to access that project and that coin? In some instances, people do that very readily. In others, you know, that presents a little bit more of a barrier to entry, so to speak, or a barrier to access that particular coin, therefore capital to find it. And something else that I want to note in this section is after processing the data for over a year, I started to notice that there were a few exchanges, like again, this is happening on a global scale. Some of them, a lot of the exchanges I'd never even heard of. But there were a few exchanges that would be responsible for huge amounts of trading volume of these top market cap coins. That could be a big point of vulnerability because if 10, 20, 30, 40+% of a given coin's trading volume is happening on only one or two exchanges and that exchange is compromised, whether it be from some type of a data breach or whether it be because it's domiciled in a country that all of a sudden has regulations trying to kick it out, like that's going to totally affect the trading volume and potential trust in some of these top market cap coins that rely on it for its trading. So just keep that in mind too. The exchange data, there's a few different angles, bottom line, to look at when you're noticing the role that exchanges play in the value of coins that you might be interested in. So I hope this was helpful. And I think the last little thing to note too, and I'm sure a lot of you already kind of know this, is the fact that there are a lot of medium of exchange currencies. Like for example, Binance is an exchange and they have their own native currency token and they incentivize their Binance traders and users to use the Binance coin. So that in and of itself, when you're evaluating the Binance coin, there's extra use cases that are built into it because of the fact that it is a medium of exchange currency. It's used to trade in and out of other currencies on the Binance exchange. So that in and of itself is going to help drive up value and demand for the Binance coin itself. And for the longest time, Bitcoin was the main medium of exchange currency, but now a lot of exchanges are getting keyed into how lucrative it can be to make their own. And so I think that's skewed the numbers a little bit over time or adjusted things a little bit over time. But again, something to keep in mind when it comes to finding value, which is what this series is all about. So once upon a time when the crypto markets were still relatively new, I felt like Alice in Wonderland. I traditionally had a finance background, but this was all very new and exciting. And it was a market that didn't have understood valuation metrics. Like in traditional finance, you have all kinds of ratios to help you evaluate whether or not a certain stock is worth its value. But in cryptocurrency, especially in the early days, that didn't exist. So I went in and tried to make some sense out of Wonderland, so to speak. So for the past few years, majority of the quarters over the past few years, I have pulled the top 25 market cap data from coinmarketcap.com and evaluated each one, stacking it against my theories of how to determine value for these coins and for these projects. And it really has been helpful over time. I've gotten to realize a lot of projects that really deserve more consideration for investment, as well as others that quickly rose to the top 25 via that good old hype train, but likely didn't have the intrinsic value and integrity that it took to stay there. But now that my evaluation metrics, as well as the crypto markets in general, are a lot more established, I no longer plan on pulling all top 25 and running the numbers every single quarter. Instead, I'm going to continue to use these metrics that have worked well for me over time, but I'm going to do it on more of an as-wanted basis when deciding between potentially good and bad investments that I've been curious about. So if you are watching this video from my website, then feel free to scroll down in each respective section and you'll get to see examples of past data pulls that I've done and the merits behind them and how it has helped determine value over time. If you're not watching this video from my website, then there will be a goodie bag full of links in the description section so you can be directed to these respective places to check out past data pulls. And yeah, feel free to use these methods and hopefully they can help your due diligence process. But please keep in mind that they are some of many, emphasis on the word many, ways to conduct due diligence and to do your research on investments that you might not only want to put money into, but maybe time. In the case of being an open source developer, that's your time and your development effort is a very precious resource too. So I would say spend it wisely, do it on projects that are really going to be worth it over time. And at the end of the day, like with everything, it's all done at your own risk, but I still hope that these are as helpful for you as they have been for me in terms of shedding light on evaluating these projects. And I wish you the best of luck on your crypto endeavors. And P.S. that this Alice clip is going to be placed at the end of each how to evaluate crypto video in order to give it a little more context. So in the future, if you've hit this point in the video and you're late for a very important date, then feel free to skip it because you won't have missed anything new.